Thank you for listening to the Clive Barker Podcast. Do us a favor and subscribe in your favorite podcast app so you never miss a release. In episode 333, Jose and Ryan go over Clive Barker book news, Blu-ray releases, and an upcoming live performance from Ann Bobby. Welcome, this is episode 333 of the Clive Barker Podcast. It's a news episode. Hey, good afternoon, Jose.
Hey, Ryan. Maybe in another 10 years we'll be doing episode 666.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, so news episode. The big one I put first. Instead of saving it the best for last, I put it first. Ann Bobby is doing a live stream February 13th. And we've got a link there in the show notes where you can go buy tickets. You won't be able to watch it afterwards. So, and it's a show with stories and songs. It's called Still Standing, Ann Bobby and Friends, Still Standing and Streaming.
That's very exciting. Ann Bobby, of course, was Laurie in Nightbreed, and she's an excellent singer. She's done Broadway shows. And if you were lucky enough to go to some of her events where she talks about her experiences making movies and TV, you probably know how cool this might end up being. Yeah. So, yeah, you got tickets for this, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I can't wait, and I'm so excited.
It streams live February 13, 2022 at 7 p.m. Eastern. The event is happening at Feinstein's 54 Below.
Yeah, so if you're in New York, you can go watch it live, and I'm totally jealous if you can do that. But I guess we can say this, right? I don't know why not. We're the ones in charge of whether we announce things or not. Ann Bobby agreed to do the foreword for our book, our interview book.
Yes, our interview book, Volume 1, Occupy Midian.
Yeah.
So,
and she's at the heart of Occupy Midian. I mean, she named it.
Yep, so, she sure named it.
Yeah. So we're excited about that.
Yes, so that's one big news.
To see. She's been a friend of the podcast. She was not our very first interview, but one of our first. She was definitely my first in-person interview, and that scared the crap out of me. But she was so gracious and nice and put up with my nervousness and stuff. She is just awesome.
Aw. So the event describes saying, having worked with everyone from Stephen Sondheim to Clive Barker on Broadway, TV, film, and beyond, Ann Bobby's cabarets never fail to weave episodes from her journey with the songs that inspire her. From Mad About You to Cop Rock, from Smile to BioShock, from Merrily We Roll Along to Born on the 4th of July, Ann's filled this show with everything from Jacques Brel to Jethro Tull, from Demi Lovato to Carly Simon, and from Cat Stevens to Yola. Gather your friends and celebrate this midwinter eve that we're all still standing.
Awesome. Although they should have Nightbreed in there. Oh, it does say Clive Barker on Broadway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it says Clive Barker. That's what they mean.
Right.
Yay!
I'm stoked about this.
Yeah.
I think I'll get some tickets for this too, so I can see it. I know she did one event once during the times of Occupy Midian, where she brought a scrapbook with all her, Nightbreed stuff, including call sheets and all documents and photos.
That's a huge regret of mine because I was there, but my plane left right before that happened.
Oh,
and it was so personal that no one would. And I asked people to record it, and they said, well, it was kind of personal, and you really had to be there. And I really wanted it. I wanted to see it, and I wanted it to go on the podcast. But I understand why they didn't. But, it's just, one of those things that I should have just gotten a later flight.
Yeah. Well, live and learn.
Yeah.
It's already stressful enough to go to a convention and have to interview people and deal with all this stuff. I mean, it's sometimes you just feel like I can't, I just got to go home now.
I have a hard time with last minute changes of plans and stuff.
Sure. So again, Ann Bobby and Friends, I'm Still Standing and streaming February 13. Go check the link on the show notes that Ryan put up and go get your tickets.
7 p.m. Eastern time. So for me, that will be 3 p.m. Just a quick happy birthday to Barbie Wild was just a couple of days ago, and Jeff Portis was on the 14th of January.
Yeah, I've shared a bunch of stuff on our podcast page.
Yeah. And so happy birthday to both of them. This is our first chance to say it into the podcast. So, yeah, happy birthday. And to two awesome people that have been on our show.
Absolutely. And even Anthony Galatis, the artist, made a beautiful happy birthday painting for Barbie Wilde, where she's dressed as the female Cenobite in Hellraiser and
jumping out of a cake.
She's holding something in her hand and stuff.
I saw another one where she was jumping out of a cake. I guess that was a different one that somebody made.
That's a different one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I've shared a lot of stuff, and Jeff Portis also, very happy birthday to him, and he was recently on vacation, where I believe that they were having some issues with the whole COVID Omicron thing. Wave going by, but he's safely at home now, and I hope he had a great birthday.
Yeah.
So Underworld, right? I mean, also known as Transmutations. This movie that we've talked about, we've reviewed it, we made a commentary track for it, and it's just this wild and wacky monsters versus mobsters film, which was one of Clive's first scripts adapted to film, right?
Yeah.
Georges Pavlou.
Adapted is a nice way of putting it. What he said in an interview is that they used 7 lines of his script, and then kind of butchered it and left rewrote everything.
Sure, I mean there must be some sort of exaggeration there, but
yeah,
Georges Pavlou on his social media. He tweeted a poster of Underworld and says, "Happy New Year, all. Looking forward to the remastered release of my film Underworld on Blu-ray later this year."
Yeah, he didn't tweet it. I think it was his Instagram.
Yeah.
That fooled me because I saw in a news story that it said at George Pavlou 1. And so I went to Twitter and I started searching, and nobody's tweeted from this account since 2016. And so it took me a while to figure out that it was Instagram because I never used that.
And, of course, this got picked up, and some people kindly sent it our way, too, in messages like, "Have you seen this?" Yeah. I was like, yes. But there's not a lot of detail about this, right?
And he doesn't even say who the company is that's releasing it, which to me is suspect.
Yeah. I also found this was posted on the Charles Band subreddit, so I was like, "Oh, is there a connection to this?" But it's like, no, it's just some guy posted this and linked to the Instagram post, and I'm curious to know who's going to put it out, since we already had Rawhead Rex come out in 4K from Kino Lorber.
I mean, it is possible, right? And there's a market out there for it.
Yeah, it could be a Kino Lorber release too. I don't know. That's just my speculation because they put out,
or it could be wishful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought, and this is what I said since the Rawhead Rex one came out, is they should have just included it with Rawhead Rex as a free addition to that release.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Now that's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah. Buy one, get a sort of a movie for free.
So right now, the only way you can see this is if you have the VHS tape, and I think it came out on a
Laserdisc too.
Laserdisc?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Did this ever come out on DVD?
I don't think so. I think it's I think it's just the old 80s formats.
Because the Rawhead Rex came out on DVD, I think.
It did, yeah. Well, it did, but it was only there was a Canadian that you could either get a European or a Canadian release, and for people in the U.S., getting the Canadian release was like $100 to buy that. You know?
Oh yeah, there is a DVD. I do own that DVD as well. Yeah. Yes, I do own the DVD from Transmutations.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
that's probably European also. I don't think they ever made a U.S. DVD.
There's a region-free version also that I just found from Black Rabbit Video. That's $15.
Yeah,
but I think I have.
When we did our audio commentary, I watched the Laserdisc, and you're like, "Oh, come on!" Because then we had to stop and turn the disc over in the middle of the commentary.
Oh yeah, because
so we had to do our timing that way.
Yeah, but that was the longest cut of the movie, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Because then when it was put on DVD, I think there was a shorter version of it, a cut version, so it's like a few minutes shorter.
So hopefully they include the most complete version of this sort of travesty. Actually, you know what? The more we watched that movie, though, the more I kind of liked it. But
travesty.
When in the 90s, whenever I would rent it and try to watch the movie, I'd always fall asleep and miss it. So it wasn't until this podcast that I actually was able to watch it all the way through.
Oh man, remember when we did a April Fool's thing where we wrote an article saying there's a sequel to Transmutations coming out, and I made a little poster with the same actress, but she's like shrunk down inside a Erlenmeyer flask, and that was funny. Some people believe that was true. Some people thought that was true. They messaged me and I'm, look at the date, man. Yeah, and when we did the commentary track, I photoshopped your face. You kind of made a weird face, and I photoshopped it into Dr.
Yeah, I was trying to copy the face that he was making on the art was making.
Yeah, which is who's on the cover
in the movie. Yeah,
not a character in the movie. It's like I was going to say Dr. Savory, and I caught myself like, no, that's not Dr. Savory.
It's some kind of a mutant guy that's not really. Yeah.
Anyway, so if they're going to do this, and if it's going to turn out to be like some weird 4K restoration, I'm on board because I want to see this movie with a better quality, because the Laserdisc version is not that good. And,
maybe we could redo our commentary if that happens.
Yeah, and hopefully there'll be some extra material like they did for Rawhead Rex. It all depends on who's putting this out and how much money they're willing to, throw at this. Yeah. Maybe there'll be a commentary of Georges Pavlou.
Was Rob right in our commentary for the last time? I can't remember. I think so.
I don't know. I think so. Yeah.
My favorite moment in the movie is when the soundtrack is like actually in the movie, and so you hear the Nicole song, and then they move out to the balcony, and the song gets quieter, like you're moving away from the soundtrack.
Yeah, that was weird. That was like, wait, this is the soundtrack of the movie, not playing in the scene. But somehow they just went with that strange decision.
Yeah, and the horrible paintings that the main character did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because he's a detective. He's not a detective. He's more like a enforcer.
He was an ex-gangster, I think.
Yeah, ex-gangster, but now he's a painter. Like, we get it, Clive. He's a painter. Yeah. Just like the guy on Dread is a painter, and just
or the guy in the Magicka.
The guy in Magicka, or the guy in Candyman, the new movie. He's a painter. Anyway, so Daniel Robitaille. Anyway, so that's coming out. So I'm stoked. If it's going to be Kino Lorber like it was for Rawhead Rex, they might put some special stuff in it. If not, I just want to see it like in a proper restoration.
Maybe they could throw in the other Underworld that has the werewolves and the vampires.
Yeah. What? No.
I caught you. You said yeah.
No.
You can't take it back now.
No backsies. Okay. And speaking of turkeys, the Candyman 3 is coming out on Blu-ray.
It already did. In fact, one of our friends just showed it off, in his what did he call it? The triumvirate of shame or something like that.
Yeah. From Vestron Video. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know Vestron was back. Yeah. What the heck? So Lionsgate put out this Candyman Day of the Dead.
And
they don't have 3 in the title.
It's got an amazing cover, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's way better than it deserves.
It's way better, yeah. It's got like this hovering figure of Candyman with his chest full of bees, and there's a skull in the back with hooks coming out of it.
The Hot Topic Brigade is beneath him.
Yeah, some of the cultists or whatever, the weird gang that worshipped him, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So, wow.
Remember that when the paintings that the main character she would paint were just like blow-ups of screen captures of Candyman?
Sure. Yeah.
You could see
oh, God. Yeah. Well, there's a Blu-ray review on Blu-ray.com. Oh, wait. No, there's not. Okay, they haven't added one yet. But, this is coming out region-coded, Region A. So it's from Vestron Video, released by Lionsgate Collector's Series. Yeah. And you can get it right now for maybe like $13 off of, Blu-ray.com. or Amazon. So original price I
have
think is
Candyman.
$17.99.
I think.
Do you have it in DVD?
Yeah, no, I think I have a Blu-ray of it.
I didn't own any copy of Candyman Day of the Dead.
How did we watch it when we did the commentary? How did you watch it?
I just streamed it,
Okay.
I just streamed it. I don't have a physical copy of this.
Yeah.
But so, if you're into like trash, schlock,
Yeah.
Playboy bunnies that make it into a horror movie, this movie's got it all.
CGI-Bs that are not that the actors are having a hard time interacting with.
Yeah. But you can add this to the 2 Blu-rays of Candyman 1, Candyman 2.
Or the other thing that when Candyman would open his jacket and it looked like he had a plastic model of the guts.
Yes.
Like what you would see in like a doctor's office.
Yeah. Well, they paid Tony Todd. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah, exactly.
They paid Tony Todd for this, so God bless him. But yeah. If you don't know about this, well, guess what? It's your lucky day. If you like Candyman, you can get Candyman 3.
Yeah, if you have to have a complete collection and have all the Candyman movies,
and you got $18 or whatever to spare. They probably thought, hey, Candyman is hot stuff right now. How about we put this out on Blu-ray? Yeah, let's do it.
So our next story, this is a little confusing because the word Revelations gets used in a lot of Clive Barker stuff, right? There's the Revelations is the Phil and Sarah website, Hellraiser Revelations, there's Revelations, the Books of Blood short story. But in this case, we've got a book of short stories that includes a Clive Barker story, and the book is called Revelations, and the story that's included is The Wood on the Hill.
Yes. So thanks for that refresher, actually. I really needed that as well.
Yeah. Revelations is like... And even our Kickstarter right now, we're basing it off of... Because it's the 9th one, so we're basing it off of Hellraiser Revelations. We called it Fundraiser Celebrations.
Yeah, but this is actually a book with a cause behind it. It's Revelations Horror Writers for Climate Action. So you can... pre-order this hardcover for $40 from Stygian Sky Media. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they include that story from Clive Barker, which is not published in a lot of places.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. It's not easy to find. So this is a good place to get that, and the money goes towards a good cause.
Yeah. If you can't get this, then you can also read the story in the Dark Fantastic, I believe. Right?
And was it also in First Tales?
And First Tales, of course, yes. That's Wood on the Hill and Candle in the Clouds.
Yeah.
So cool cover on this. It's got a lot of people like Clive Barker, Ramsey Campbell, Joe Hill, who's Stephen King's son, Stephen King, Joe R. Lansdale, a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
And you're supporting this Horror Writers for Climate Action cause.
And speaking of Clive Barker or editions or books, I guess, Suntop. If you remember, last year we talked about their version of Magicka. So they made an announcement on their video, their live feed, at the very end of the video, at the 25-minute mark, on the January 12th video, they announced that they're going to be making a version of the Hellbound Heart.
Yeah, that's exciting. I wonder what sort of extra material this is going to have.
Yeah, and what kind of fancy binding and stuff it's going to have.
When we were in touch with more people at the Clive Barker house, we used to get like images and photos from stuff that they would discover. And like the Cenobites were originally going to be called the Scalpels. And there's some pictures of the original manuscript for the Hellbound Heart, where you have actually depictions of like these Cenobites and little drawings and stuff, and like a handmade cover for the manuscript. So that's a lot of cool stuff. I wonder if they're going to be putting that into these books. I don't own any Suntop editions.
I don't know either. I don't remember there being extra material in a Magicka other than the new
paintings. Yeah. But that would be tremendous if they added some extra material, but like they did for like the 25th anniversary editions of Thief of Always or, other books that Weave World and stuff. They had like facsimile images of manuscripts and stuff. That's always been the big calling for me to eventually get these releases because I want to see more about that stuff. But it seems like Suntop is more focused on the quality of the editions, like the binding and the typography and the paper. Yeah. They're more into that, right?
Well, and you and I learned about, book collectors probably know all about Suntop, but you and I learned about Suntop last year because of Magicka, and by the time by the time this story got to me and I got off of work, they were all sold out. Like, you have, I think, minutes between when they do their pre-order announcement and when you're going to get it. So definitely go to their Facebook page and watch it carefully if you're interested in this, because you can be like me and totally miss out on the Magicka.
Or their websites. They probably have like a newsletter or a mailing list that you can subscribe to, probably more immediate than the Facebook thing. But speaking of Magicka, the artist editions of Magicka that came out a few months ago, right? So they just started going out, I think.
I think what he said, it's really brief, and it's like at about the 12-minute mark of that video. But I think what he was saying is that they're coming to him, and then he'll be getting ready to ship them out to the people who bought them.
Okay, there you go. Sure. Yeah, and you got a link to the announcement video on Facebook and the show notes. So
and they have, if you go to their Facebook page, you can see a physical picture of the book because they've gotten like an artist proof or whatever to look at.
Yeah, it's about 12 minutes in. And this was that book that the artist edition, I think, was sold out in minutes. It was $200. And then they had eventually going up to the really fancy, high-end falutin lettered edition that is like you had to get an installment plan for that one because it was like $5,000 for that book.
Letterpress typeface and all kinds of...
Yeah. So that's the kind of like level of detail and binding that you get from Suntop.
And
which
I
is
love Magicka,
cool.
but I just, I cannot spend that kind of money on a book.
Yeah. They had for the $5,000 version, they had limit one per household. Like, who's going to buy two?
Yeah.
Here, take my $10,000. Send me 2 books.
Yeah.
It's one of them I can read and the other one I can sell for
do you
more.
Want a car or do you want 2 books?
Yeah, that's a good question. And there's more news from our buddies at Little Spark Films. So Little Spark Films has been very busy. A lot of their movies have been, going around gathering laurels, right?
Yeah. So the Torturer has been accepted into the RS Film?
RS Film Festival. That's right.
Yeah, and so they got another laurel for that, and I've been teasing them because I think that their Torturer poster is all laurels now, and you have to have to brush all those laurels off so you can see the artwork still.
Yeah, rsfilmfest.com. That's the festival. They also have another movie in the official selection for that festival. It's Beyond Dusk that they did, was directed by Joe Manco.
And I've seen trailers for that, but I haven't seen Beyond Dusk. Of course, we've seen The Torturer. And for people out there who are interested, our Kickstarter we still have download codes and autographed posters of The Torturer. Yeah,
you can contribute to our Kickstarter and get some of those from our rewards. The really cool movie based on the story by Paul Kane, and great poster too.
Yeah, and Paul T. Taylor stars in the movie, and he was, of course, Pinhead in Hellraiser Judgment.
Right on.
Yeah, so shout out to our friends at Little Spark Films. We're going to be starting to play Dungeons and Dragons with them again here probably next month sometime. We're still working out the dates, but
yeah, the adventure continues. And another thing that they got awarded, the Torturer got awarded a semi-finalist laurel from the Dark Veins Horror Fest on December 31st, which is an amazing event held annually in Italy. So that movie is going internationally.
Wow. I wonder if they're going to go to Italy.
Yeah, that would be amazing if they did. It's a beautiful country to visit.
Wow. Congratulations again, you guys. You're awesome.
Yeah, I love Little Spark
we
Films.
love doing projects with them. We are always looking for excuses to hang out with Joe and Catalina.
Absolutely, and everybody else that's part of Little Spark Films.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice because this is our second episode we've recorded today.
Yeah. We did a commentary track just before this, and I'm all talked out.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's it for the news, but I did want to kind of go over quickly because this is kind of our first episode since Christmas. I guess we did have one other one, but did you get any Clive Barker stuff for Christmas?
I got myself the Hellraiser Bloodline scripts that were written by Peter Atkins and put out by Encyclopocalypse Publications. I got two versions, like the regular paperback and the mass market smaller paperback. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't count as like Clive Barker stuff, but it's related to Hellraiser and it's Peter Atkins. So, definitely I think that was the only thing.
Yeah, that counts. I got myself that book too. Which is a little bit ironic because I've got sitting right next to me, an autographed one by Pete Atkins, but that's for our Kickstarter. So yes. I got myself one, or actually I got one with Christmas money for myself from Amazon. And I also got the Candyman Blu-ray, the new Candyman, the 2021 Candyman Blu-ray. Which
Christmas money.
Yeah, which includes UHD version, which I can't play yet because I don't have a UHD 4K Blu-ray player. But eventually I will. I have two TVs that are 4K, so I don't see why not. Someday. Yeah.
But don't forget to get a good sound system for that, too.
Oh, yeah. I don't have that either. I used to have a surround sound thing, but it hogs up too much space, especially when we moved out of the downstairs and, moved all our stuff out of the downstairs.
I could see that. And also like the wires going on the floor and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that was a pain. People were tripping over them or vacuuming them up.
If only they, I think there's like Bluetooth 5.1 systems, right? Where you don't have to actually have wires.
I wonder about that. And do you have to put batteries in all the speakers?
Oh, yeah, I didn't consider the power thing. Yeah,
and
you're right.
Then the other part of that is newer surround sound systems don't have the same kind of inputs that old ones have, so you don't get RCA composite and stuff for like older game systems that I have a lot of.
Yeah, I in Arizona where I lived in my condo that we still own, we had like a 5.1 system, and we were just starting to learn how to use that. It came with a house and whatever. It was kind of like roughly installed, and I think there were a couple of like there were two little speakers that were missing or unconnected. They were not connected, so they were hanging from the walls behind the couch. But I tested them and they were not working. So I was thinking about setting that up. But now that we're in a rental here in Ohio, I'm back to not having any sort of idea about creating our own home theater. Although it's one of those things always in the back of my mind. Like one day I'll have like some of our friends have like a nice room dedicated to having a couch and a big TV, and then you can watch 4K Blu-rays or 3D Blu-rays or whatever with nice surround sound. That's the dream.
In our living room, I bought two Apple HomePods and put them on either side of the TV so that because they simulate surround sound and they pair with each other.
Sure.
But I don't get to use that TV very much. It's like a dedicated Minecraft machine these days for my son, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
So I also have the TV that I'm looking at right now while we're doing this podcast, which is my monitor, and that's what I end up watching most of my stuff on.
Right. So that's all the stuff I got for Christmas was basically the Bloodline scripts from Encyclopocalypse. I got
myself a ring light too, so that I won't look pink in the videos, the Zoom calls anymore. Yeah,
it's always good to have some strong lighting on you. The more light, the better the camera will pick you up. The less noise it gets into the Zoom call.
Oh, and I got the 4K Transformers movie, which, I was excited about that because I love that. I know you're a big fan of that movie too.
Oh, yeah. I just saw that the other day while I was working.
Oh, really?
I had it playing on a little window on YouTube. And I was just like, I'm pretty sure Ryan and I could probably quote this movie by memory you did with with that other movie, Ator.
Yeah, the Blade Master.
The Blade Master. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could both like back and forth, like totally nerd out and say all the lines. Fish are dumping today, hey, Daniel? Yeah. The treacherous Decepticons have conquered the home planet of Cybertron.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's just, it could go on and on.
I love that movie. I saw it in the theater with my brother, and so that was so shocking to watch in the theater. For one thing, they said a swear word, which is like,
oh shit, what do we do?
Yeah, and which they restored into when they put this movie on DVD, they restored the swear word back to it.
Because I think I have a DVD version that doesn't have that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for other thing, all these Transformers that I had, like Cliff Jumper and stuff, they just died horrible deaths. Like Cliff Jumper, you just see smoke coming out of his face, and he falls over because Megatron shot him.
Yeah, and the shuttle.
Yeah.
But of course, there were some they couldn't kill, like Jazz, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I was actually watching the third season the other day, watching the first 5 episodes of The Five Faces of Darkness. And I was like, wow, they really went downhill after the movie, though. The animation was really bad for third season.
Yeah. I saw a couple episodes of that when it came out, and it's like, it's hard when you're a kid to understand that they don't have the same budget, but
I never understood that because, like, first and second season of Transformers, really good animation,
Yeah.
Movie, great animation. And then they go back to the third season, and it's like, no, this is crap. This is crap now.
And the cast in the movie was amazing, too.
Yeah, Orson Welles.
I know. Leonard Nimoy.
Orson Welles is Omicron. No, I know it's Unicron. Anyway, bad joke. But I guess he did that just in like one afternoon or something, and he trash talked the movie all the time because I made some voice for some toy. It's like he just did it for like cash. Anyway.
The marketing posture is highly dubious.
Yeah, but now I can't watch Unsolved Mysteries without thinking, hey, there's Ultra Magnus.
Yeah.
With Robert.
Robert Stack.
Yeah, Robert Stack playing Ultra Magnus.
Yeah. I always thought Ultra Magnus was a weird toy. Before that movie came out, I'm like, why did they make this? It's just another Optimus Prime with extra crap jammed on it.
Sure, yeah. What I thought is really weird is at the end of Jesus Christ, welcome to the Transformers podcast. but it's like, I always thought it was weird that at the end when he turns into Hot Rod turns into Rodimus Prime.
Yeah.
He becomes a truck sports car.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Well, how does that happen?
What's better than a new toy is making 2 toys out of the same character.
Sure, I get it.
Yeah, I know, trucks. Right. So does that mean every Prime has to be some kind of a truck?
Yeah, that's a good question.
When he was an ape, like a gorilla, he wasn't a truck.
Wait, what? I didn't see Beast Wars or anything like that.
In Beast Wars, he was Optimus Primal, and he was a gorilla.
Oh, that seems very strange.
Yeah, it was a weird show.
Huh. But anyway, so yeah, we're both Transformers geeks. Deal with it. I saw that movie recently, by the way, so probably we're watching the movie within days of each other.
Yeah, now I have, I think, probably 4 movies that are 4K, and luckily they also come with regular HD Blu-rays, so you can still watch them. But I really, really want to get a PlayStation 5 or a Xbox One X, so I can see these movies in 4K. But those stupid consoles are $1,000, and you can't find them.
Oh, one of the things I got for Christmas was a little Chromebook. My wife gave me a little Chromebook, HP, and it turns out that it can play 4K YouTube videos, which is something my older laptop sputtered at because it was old.
Yeah.
But this one plays 4K YouTube videos, no problem. Cool. And I'm like, oh, this is a tiny little Chromebook. I wonder how he can do this. That's kind of nuts. And it's really, really crystal clear. So,
nice.
Yeah. Of course, I have my big gaming laptop computer. But if I can just
sort of tethered to one spot.
Yeah. So this one is the one I can take to the living room or take to bed and just be like typing on social media instead of having to turn on the gigantic power hog that is a gaming computer desktop.
I've been thinking about selling my iPad and my MacBook Pro and getting one like newer, laptop. Because then,
Sure.
because they're getting old. Like the laptop, the battery lasts only 30 seconds if it ever gets unplugged. So
Yeah, factory reset that, put it up, and it can go towards the new thing. You'll be happy you did it because the new stuff is going to work so much smoother.
yeah, and to have turn two devices into one device, I think would be kind of nice too.
Yeah.
The only thing I like though is with the iPad, I can download stuff. Because we have crappy internet at work. So when I'm on my lunch break, I just watch downloaded versions of. Right now, I'm watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. And I don't think you can go into Netflix on a browser and just download movies like you can with the apps,
Oh, yeah. Download for later viewing. Yeah, I don't think you can, no. Yeah, I think
so
that's only
one
on
thing
the
I
app.
would miss.
Sure.
But other than that, it's probably still worth it to do.
I mean, I've never had trouble streaming, so unless the internet you're using is really spotty.
It is really spotty, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because it's a government building and everybody, people just pull into the parking lot just to take our internet. So,
okay.
So I think it gets overloaded.
What's coming up next?
Well, coming up next, let's talk about our Kickstarter because that's what's going to determine, right, what we're doing. Our Kickstarter right now, we're recording this on Saturday and it'll go out on Sunday. But right now, as we're recording this, we're at $2,540. We have 17 days left to go, and we still have a lot of cool stuff, and for our goals, we've reached our main goal, which was $800. We did the $900 biweekly episode goal. We did a goal for, we did goals for all of the A to Z of horror
commentary tracks.
Yep. We're JoJo Baby, the Clive Barker produced documentary. We reached that goal. We did a goal for microphones for some of our other co-hosts that don't have good microphones, so they'll sound a little better. Mule Skinner Blues. And interviews and commentary for the new Dark Ditties movie, which has been out for a couple of months, and we really, I really am excited to go check that one out.
Yeah, Dad.
Green screens for us, for Jericho Squad mainly, but we can also use them for other Zoom stuff that we do. Commentaries on Hulu, the Hulu Hellraiser, and the feature episode. So we'll spend some time talking about that movie when it comes out.
Right on.
Duels of Blood. I'm reluctantly, willing to do one more of those. There's a lot of programming of the stupid little JavaScript voting things.
Yes.
But we will take the top 8 of each of the other previous years and pit them against each other, and you guys will get to vote and determine who's the winner.
So we had 4 volumes, so 8 times 4, 32. So we start with 32, not 64 this time, right?
Yeah, it's actually, maybe it is 16 of each from each one.
I mean, it could be a shorter round. I mean, I wouldn't mind about that, but
actually,
just so it wouldn't be too repetitive.
We could do that.
We usually do that on March Madness schedule, so maybe we'll do it at the end of February.
And one thing we sort of ran into is that you already own Visions of Heaven and Hell.
That's right.
But you own it in Portugal. So one of our stretch goals was to help to send a box of your Clive Barker collection to the United States from Portugal so that you can have that available. Yes,
that would be such a good help if people would help me reach it. And we did reach it because about 70% of my 70 to 75% of my Clive Barker collection, when I moved to the U.S., I left it in my room back at my mother's apartment. So it's a lot of stuff. It's just I came to the U.S. with 2 suitcases, and there was no real way for me to take all my stuff. I had an office and a bedroom while I was working on my master's. I was living in a different city, but I would still come home to my parents' apartment to spend the weekend with my mother for a long time. So that's where most of my stuff was since my childhood. And so, it's still there. So thank you so much for helping me be able to bring some of this stuff so we can have more interesting discussions on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's good. We were just talking about it, and it's like, do we really want to use this money to buy you a second copy of a book that you already have? Or would it be better to just ship, some of your things over instead? So I think that's better.
I think that's better too, because there might be other stuff that I can get shipped along with that basically is one of a kind stuff, and I can't really get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the obvious one that we're talking about, we've got a picture of it there on the Kickstarter, is your medallion, your Lyle's.
Yeah. The Midian key. And I got some boxes from Pyramid Gallery and stuff that, some of the boxes that I have that are not Pyramid Gallery are also just one of a kind. They don't really exist anymore. I have like a star box configuration thing, and I wouldn't know where to get another one of those. There's a few more stretch goals that we have not met yet, which is in another $60 we will reach the stretch goal for making a commentary track for the movie Wishmaster with the writer of that movie, Peter Atkins.
Yay!
Which would be a really fun experience to do because, hey, I love Wishmaster, the first one at least. And
that
Pete
was your
Atkins
idea. That you came up with that not too long ago. I was like, oh my God, yes. Why didn't we think of that before?
Yeah, and we reached out to Pete, and he's like, yeah, that sounds fun. Let's put that in. So there's that. Another one would be to be able to, at $26.50, would be to be able to have a map of Isordarex commissioned by an artist.
Yeah,
so
that'll really help us with the Jericho squad because I struggle a little bit with understanding the geography, where each Kesprit is in relation to each other, and I think that having a map will really solidify that and make it a richer kind of experience for everybody. It'll
be tricky. There'll be a lot of like creative process going into this because it's not coming from Clive Barker. We'll just adapt a few things from the book, but there's no actual like major distinct description of the streets or where each thing is in relation to each other, but we can come up with something.
Yeah, there are clues in the book, of course, and then
it's the appendix.
The appendix. Yeah, at the end of one of the editions of Magicka, there's an appendix that describes a lot of the stuff in alphabetical order, and that will be really crucial. And then there's Richard Kirk illustrations that we can use, and the picture on one of the book covers.
That's true. Another stretch goal would be when we reach $2,700 would be to do a map of the current reconciled dominions for Magicka, which I would be very interested in seeing this because at the end of Magicka, there's a scene that involves a map of the Magicka being a circle, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested in seeing what kind of approximation to that we could come up with collaborating with an artist.
If you're out there and you have experience with making Dungeons and Dragons fantasy maps and you're a Clive Barker fan and you've got a good idea about Magicka, contact us. We'd love to talk to you.
Sure. Another one that I came up with because I was inspired by your collection of the Magicka card game is that we could do an episode where we play the Magicka card game. So we could make a video episode of you and I playing with some decks. And I've never played the game. I only own one card from it, which is the Clive Barker card. It's just that little
that came in something in a comic book, I think, or I forget.
Lost Souls. I got it from Lost Souls when I joined. Okay. So, but yeah, so I think that would be an interesting thing because we never really covered the game in depth, and we never really definitely played it.
I've never played it. I've only collected it, so I'm excited to try that.
There's an awesome website, right, for the Magicka credit?
Yeah, I think it's MagickaCCG.com.
Yeah. So what does the CCG stand for?
Collectible card game.
Oh, collectible.
Or customizable card game. I'm never sure which one it is, but
I played Magic the Gathering in the past, but I've never played this.
I have played it too. Actually, I met those guys when they first started that game. I was at a Dragon Con in like 1990, I think.
Yeah.
In Seattle. And they came around passing out these booster decks to try to get people to play this new game. And it was just funny that eventually I kept thinking, if I sell this, it's still in the pack, it'll be worth a ton of money. But I opened it. I had to see what was in there.
Sure. No, I mean, that's amazing because they had no idea how much that would take off to become a global phenomenon.
Well, and I never knew, when I was at a Dungeons and Dragons convention that these geeks, passing out this card game trying to get us to play it, were going to take over Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
And Wizards of the Coast bought out TSR, and now they own it.
Wow. And one fresh off the presses stretch goal we have here. You just came out with this one today while we were talking to Ed, making a commentary track.
Yeah.
Is a stretch goal to make a commentary track for the movie The Dead Pit with the effects artist Ed Martinez, because he did the effects for this movie. And it's a really hacky, enjoyable movie.
Yeah, I watched it when we first had Ed and Nina on the podcast in preparation for, and what was that, 2018, I think?
I think so,
so. I watched it back then, and I thought it was a great fun movie, and I'm excited to do a commentary with Ed on that. He can kind of guide us through, what was going on behind the scenes through the movie.
There's a doctor in this story that gets nails stuck in his brain and stuff, so there's a little influence there, I guess.
Yeah, and of course, people who listen to us in the podcast know that Ed and Nina were a huge part of Cenobium.
Yeah,
the Hellraiser fanzine. So if there's special effects that remind you of Hellraiser, it's probably not a coincidence.
Yeah, they were the longest running Hellraiser fan project. I think even at 10 years, our podcast still has not been around as long as Cenobium was in its time. So
and the longest Clive Barker related fanzine, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
There was Dread, and there was like Hellbreed and Lost Souls. But I think Cenobium lasted longer than those.
Well, Hellbreed was just 2 issues.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that one definitely didn't make the cut.
Right on. Yeah. And so, there's a lot of other rewards that you can see on the Kickstarter. There'll be a little link at the show notes for that. Yeah.
One cool thing is Barbie Wilde signed these Pandora parchments with Eric Gross and followers of the Pandorics. So we've got those. Some of them have sold, but we still have more. We've got some paperbacks and the Torturer, like we mentioned earlier. We've got the Torturer movie download codes. And we've sold some of those, but there's more of those and posters of the Torturer signed by Paul T. Taylor. We've got Hellraiser and Nightbreed comics still. We've got Dread fanzines. Fangorias, yeah, nobody's gotten those yet, and they're all Fangorias centered around Clive Barker related movies, Hellraiser 2 and Hellraiser Bloodline.
A signed photo of Clive Barker. I don't think that one went yet.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that one I got at Monster Mania when Clive couldn't make it because of his health, so they gave those out to people in lieu of because the people who had gotten the VIP package to meet with Clive and stuff, they gave those out instead. So I still have that. And what else have we got? Oh, there's a Halloween comic from Aidan Fowlin that was pretty rare from the year 2000. A comic of adaptation of the movie Halloween.
Halloween #1, which is signed by one of the writers or artists. Do you know what?
I think by the writer. Yeah,
okay.
It's the guy, or maybe the editor-in-chief, because he's the guy that answers the letters at the end. And T-shirts. We've got a Jericho Squad T-shirt, and we've got we have a design from you of a Baphomet 10th anniversary celebration T-shirt.
Yeah, since we were putting out the volume of interviews, Occupy Midian, so it's related to Nightbreed.
Yeah,
and I've had that in the drawer for like almost 10 years, and I was like, hey, I never put this out in one of the Kickstarters. I forgot I did this because I made my own personal T-shirt during the times of Occupy Midian. And I was like, I'll pick it up and just change it around a bit.
I can't wait to get myself one of those when this Kickstarter is over.
Sure.
And of course, Cenobium T-shirt. We've got a second Cenobium T-shirt that's got the Nirasawa inspired design, Cenobite design that Nina created for
Right. So
for a
Japanese
cover of-
artist of Cenobium, yeah. So Japanese artist Nirasawa, he's done some work for like models and kits and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was one that he did of a Cenobite, which looks like parts of his face had been cut off.
Yeah, like he's got a cruciform shape where his skin is, and then the skin is removed all around it.
Yeah, and it's just the skull and the teeth showing through, and all you see is his eyes, nose, and lips, and there's these flaps of skin around the skull. So it's a really cool one. Nita did a great job on these, and I personally think this is the best design we've had so far.
Yeah,
along
I love
with
it. I
the
really like your design too, but I like both of these, and I'm wearing my old Cenobium shirt from last year right now as we're recording this, and I'm looking forward to getting one of these also to wear all the time.
Yeah, the Nyx design, Nyx with a mask. It's really cool. Was that also Nina? Yes, I think that was also Nina.
Yeah.
That's right. So she's our T-shirt artist. Yeah.
And we have a memory, prophecy, and fantasy book that's a Clive Barker. It's the Clive Barker series by Phil and Sarah Stokes.
Oh, is it volume 3?
Yeah, volume 3 left. We had 1, but we still have 3 left, and those were kindly donated by Rob Ridenauer. So thanks, Rob.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. That's really generous. These books are really rare, and you can only get them from Phil and Sarah, so we don't know how many of these are left.
And
I think they made like 250 copies of each.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's 250 or 500. I think it was 250. I don't know.
I don't know either. But I love them. I read them each as they came out, and it's the most in-depth biography of Clive Barker you could see.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And we've got planning an episode and advertising left as well. So if anybody's interested, we've had 3 people already sign up for plan an episode. So if we just get 49 more people planning an episode, then we don't have to plan anything.
We'd be planning the season of 2023.
Yeah. So no, this has been really exciting, and we can't thank you guys enough. But we're going to try, because when this is over, we'll have a whole episode dedicated to the Kickstarter and what's coming next and what we're planning, and thanking everybody that participated.
100%.
Yeah.
We couldn't do this without you guys. I'm so happy that, I get to spend time chatting with people like you, Ryan, and Ed, and other guests that we get to connect to and bond with and establish relationships with through the podcast. It's been very rewarding for myself, and it's also, I'm glad that it's entertaining for our listeners.
Yeah, and thank you so much. And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. Watch for our annual Kickstarter fundraisers to get some cool stuff, and you can buy T-shirts on our TeePublic store. Go to tpublic.com and search for BarkerCast.
Thanks for listening.